So in this exercise, I'm going to add paint to my collage. I hope this has inspired you to maybe rip some things up and stick them down in an abstract kind of way, giving it some thought, but not really having a preconceived idea in your mind. So I'm going to use acrylic paints. These are very cheap tubes from Wilco, and to be honest with you, I'm running out. So I'm going to use a very limited palette. I think it might be nice to use black. It might be nice to use red. I'm just taking my cue here from Rembrandt's clothes, maybe some ochre and blue. I think maybe that will be enough, possibly with some white. Well, we'll definitely need some white for this. So the first thing I'm going to do then is to just put down some white acrylic. I'm not going to dilute the colours at all. I'm just going to squirt a little bit of white out of there. And all I've got in mind really at the moment is the idea of vertical strips. And I'm just kind of very loosely painting in some areas, so at least they look sort of painted. Well, I like the idea of black and red, so maybe if I put some red in here, I suppose I'll end up with some pink. So let me just put in maybe some red down there. Maybe that will balance out some of his clothes. So if I stick with this kind of red and black theme, the whole thing might have a feeling of drama to it. I'm not sure if that's what I really want, to be honest. So I'm going to start adding some more colours. And also, red has this kind of connotation of being, you know, bloody. So maybe some blue will kind of calm it down. Now I could at this point, I mentioned the French artist Manessier. It would make sense if I were going to be inspired by him to have that sort of in front of me, really. But I don't know if there's any point really, because it's not deliberately trying to be like him. And maybe some ochre as well. And I'm going to start mixing these things together. I've got my favourite brush here. Actually it's brown, it's not ochre. That doesn't really matter too much. So you can see there the general direction is getting some nice tertiary colours here, some nice greys. The general idea really is to work vertically up and down. There we go. It's a wonderful mess at the moment. But it's beginning to take form as some kind of abstract. Do I want to keep in Rembrandt? I don't know. It gives it some kind of mystery, I guess, possibly. I think I need to add some white to this brown. The brown's rather intense. So I'm going to make it look more like, I don't know, cocoa, I suppose. You can see there that I'm allowing some of the text to show through, but I don't particularly want people to be able to read it and get some kind of idea from the text. That's kind of irrelevant really. So then, you can see there a nice, wonderful mess. I need to add a bit of black to that as well. I'm trying to make it look kind of painterly. Let me just be quiet for a moment and let me think about what I'm doing a bit more, because I think some of the colours need balancing up. I'm not too sure about that red, to be honest. It's beginning to look like the French flag as well, which isn't something that I particularly want to do. France doesn't really have anything to do with it, really, apart from the fact that it's slightly inspired by a French abstract artist. So I think I might start, for that very reason of looking a bit like a French flag, start using some black to kind of get rid of it, keeping it nice and free. That will downplay the idea of the flag. So really, in essence, I've got something here which is, what's the point of this really? Well, sticking down the paper to begin with, all those different bits of newspaper, has given me a texture which is really quite nice. Now, what's coming to mind now is that Rembrandt did do the Night Watch, and I don't want to get it over black, but I think I might introduce more white to make it a little more grey. I think the black's a bit intense on this side. You can see that I'm squeezing the paint directly from the tube, which is fun. There's a grey down there. I'm trying to balance up the colours a bit more. Ultimately, I'm not trying to say anything in particular, really. I don't really want there to be a message other than, oh, there's Rembrandt peeping out of some kind of abstract. And I think really that's about as far as I go in terms of meaning. I think maybe at this point it's time to cut loose. Maybe think about stopping shortly. Get rid of that blue there and just make it a bit more grey. Keep it nice and free. Make sure there's some bits of newspaper showing through. Okay, I think at this point, okay, there's a touch of Menessier, check him out, sort of in this bottom corner. The rest of it, basically vertical stripes with Rembrandt and a bit of newspaper at the bottom. Okay, we'll let that dry and we'll call that finished. Hope that inspires you to paint over your collage. Best thing is, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, you can always make another one. You can see that didn't really take me too long to do. You might want to spend a bit more time on it than I've done, but that it really is up to you and the way that you work. So there we are. There's my painted collage. Thanks. Bye-bye.